Swag out there and boss. Look, is that bow tie paste?
And we're back with another edition of the Sartorial Geek Podcast by Webster Style, where we talk about bow ties, comic books, and everything in between. I'm your host, Webster Style, the man, the voice, the fragrance. It's been a while, but we're back. I'm trying to get things on a more consistent schedule, but you know, life gets in the way. But this week, let's talk about our download, which is a game that Brian and I talked about on the Checkpoint last year when it debuted, and we were both very curious as to how it would be executed. And now it is currently on Game Pass, and I believe it's on PlayStation Plus as well. I'm not totally sure, but usually with 2K, they drop their games on both subscription services at the same time, so there's parity there. But today we're talking about Lego 2K Drive. Now, Lego 2K Drive, as I said, dropped last year, was actually developed by Visual Concepts Austin, so they also do the WWE games as well as the, of course, NBA 2K series. I played through it recently. You can check out the Game Bites link below where I played through it for the first time. I have to say that I was very impressed. It was, in my opinion, for the brief time I played, a great combination of an arcade style racer and a kart racer as well, but definitely with that Lego whimsical flair that we are very accustomed to by playing a lot of the Lego games that were developed by Traveller's Tale Games. I definitely think that Lego 2K Drive is a game that is well balanced for experienced players, but it is extremely accessible, as it should be as a Lego game, for those who are not as experienced. So it's good for young and old, new gamers, old gamers, pro gamers. I thought that it was just really fun to explore, especially the open world aspect of it, and just driving around and drifting. And it is a really fun world to drive around. And that's what it reminds me so much of Forza Horizon 5 with the openness of that game. It is so much like it, meaning 2K Drive, Lego 2K Drive is very reminiscent to me, at least reminds me much of that open world driving that I love so much in Forza Horizon 5. And then you have the kart racing aspects when you're actually in the race with the different power ups. While it is not as, there's nothing that really compares to Mario Kart when it comes to the smoothness of racing, the power ups and how effective they are. But I would say Lego 2K Drive was one that it was easy to use, well, not easy to use, but more so easy to get accustomed to the kart racing style. The power ups were a little, not say tricky, but took some getting used to, especially coming from other kart racing games. I think the most recent one I played was at Disney's MotorStorm, and that was very reminiscent of what it was like playing Mario Kart. This had a bit of a different take, Lego 2K Drive, but it was still kart racing once you got into a race. And the power-ups were satisfying, especially they have this web deterrent that you can throw against the enemy. In this case, it was thrown against me, which is very reminiscent of the Inky that blocks the ink. Is it an Inky? Is it what's called Inky? I forget. Inky is a ghost in Pac-Man, but the squid thing in Mario Kart, where, you know, pretty much plops the ink all over in front of you so you can't see. It has a spider web that does that, but I like the aspect of the QTE where you're able to remove it a bit faster instead of having to wait for it to dissipate on its own. So all in all, that is my take on Lego 2K Drive. Now, one of the things that has taken the internet by storm over the past week or so, and I've been absolutely enjoying it because I love the hilarity of it, is the soft guy era. And with it being a response, a satirical response, a joking response to some of the discourse we've seen online over the past few years or so, where certain women who chose to speak outline these, what many perceive as astronomical and ridiculous demands on any man that not just chooses to mate them, but just date them. And with this really bearing out its fruit over the past week or so by the time of this recording. I wanted to talk to my colleague and collaborator, Ren, on her perspective, and also just to get a good laugh, but also maybe touch on the reality behind why this even happened. So let's jump over to Ren and I. Let me bring her up, and then we're going to have our discussion on the soft guy era.
Currently in my soft guy era. I am not going to be going on any cheap dates like the Cheesecake Factory. You want to go out and take a walk and eat Rita's and go and get ice cream? I'm not doing that. I'm in my soft guy era. Me being in my soft guy era, I'm not going to be helping out getting groceries and taking it into the crib. I'm not going to change a simple light bulb. I'm not going to be doing that. I am in my soft guy era. I'm in my soft guy era. So if you try to argue with me, I'm just going to walk away, get in my car, and go and get my nails done. Also, I am not dating you. You are dating me. Since I'm in my soft guy era, if we're dating, I'm not going to be doing my laundry, even though that's something I should be doing as a regular person. I am also not going to be cleaning, even though that is something I should be doing as a regular person. I am also not going to be cooking. You think I'm going to pick up a spatula or pick up a spoon to cook? No, I am not going to do that, even though I should be able to do that as a normal person. I am in my soft guy era.
All right, you see, we here with the lovely Ren from Ren's Red Room. We wanted to pick her brain to get her opinions on this whole soft guy era that is taking really TikTok by storm. I haven't seen as much of it on Instagram, but really I see most of the videos that come across my timeline or sent to me all originate from TikTok. So Ren, as a lady, and again, you're a very level-headed woman based on our interactions. What is your take on this whole thing?
Well, my take on it is, I don't. It's so much confusion on the internet, and I recently have seen Jaden Smith and Justin Bieber caressing each other. Recently, Jaden Smith came up behind Justin Bieber and was really caressing him and was snuggling on him through the back and kind of a groping motion, it looked like, from the back. And Justin Bieber just kissed him on the cheek. And it was just like a no big deal to them, like a bromance relationship type of thing. So that's how I see soft boy era, as men are not being as aggressive as they were previously before the internet was even a thing. Which my opinion is, I believe in masculinity. I don't believe in toxic masculinity. And there is a difference. So to me, the soft boy era, you have to take that with still caution. You know, it's like telling a woman, be independent, but not too independent to scare a man off type of thing. You have to find a balance into everything in the world. And I believe in balance. That's my opinion.
Right. Okay. Interesting. I didn't look at it when thinking of it in that way. I saw it as, and again, the originators, the guys who originated, that's pretty much what they saw it as. And I know the internet, things take lives of their own and people do things, but it really was a way of holding up the mirror to, I don't like saying all women because that's certainly not the case, but it seems like a lot of female content creators who have used the internet as a platform to pretty much talk about what they require. I remember it was one young woman who talked about, the date me, you gotta pay my nails, pay my rent. If we get married, you gotta pay the mortgage, you gotta take me out, you gotta do the dishes, you gotta do laundry, and do all these things. And I think as a man, we were like, what is she supposed to do? Like, what is there for you? And the whole soft guy thing was really a way of holding up the mirror at all of the what we perceive as foolishness, because everyone has requirements, everyone thinks they want in a relationship. But I think the extremity of what we've seen in the past couple of years, of what these standards are, that
Mm,
they're literally asking for the world. But from our perspective, what are you giving? Your existence is not simply enough for someone to give you, basically do everything in a relationship, and you're
right.
just there to maybe have intercourse every once in a while. And that is the sort of perception that was really put out there. And that's what this whole soft guy thing was really a rebuttal against. That's why guys are like using the same words like, if you can't cash at me to get my haircut, you're a brokey. That's the same thing a
Mm,
lot of these women said. If, I am a 6 figure man, I'm a 666. You need to make sure that you take it. Like the sort of things that women have said, they basically regurgitated them back out to poke fun at how ludicrous the whole notion sounds. And for me, I'm watching these videos and I am cracking up because it's so funny, because it's literally exactly what, and again, we're talking about the extremes, but with the internet, the extreme is what becomes,
gets most attention. Yeah.
yeah, I don't want to say popular because I don't think it's popular, but the algorithms, that's what it pushed, that's what get eyeballs, that's what gets a
Mhm.
reaction. And the extreme then becomes the norm, because you and I, we've spoken before. We know it's not all people. I've watched your show, Red Room, and the conversation there, this is not normal. I've talked with men, women my age and younger, and we talk about these things. And these are not the perceptions that we have.
Right.
This is not, I have single female friends who are dating, who have done well for themselves. They are, have done a whole lot better than a lot of the women that have had these humongous checklists.
Hmm.
They're just like, this is ridiculous. who
Mm,
who asked for all that? Like, and we talking about one of my friends. She's over 6 figures, owns multiple properties.
mm.
It's just, I just want a partner.
Yeah.
And then there are myriad of issues that come along with that. And we've had conversations about that as well. But when I talk to real people, that's not what they say. So
Mm,
when you look at the internet with all of these lists, and again, as a man, I'm sitting there like, when have you earned all of this?
right. And that's the point that people are missing, is earning these
Yeah,
type of requirements.
right.
And it's like, listen, I date people on a regular basis,
Mhm.
and I have multiple conversations with different people on a regular basis because I'm trying to get everyone's viewpoint in the real world, not the Facebook and the TikTok and the YouTubes, and not in the internet world, because unfortunately the most drama gets the most attention.
Right.
And if we haven't noticed that through a reality TV show, I don't know what we when we're going to realize the internet's toxic. Point blank. Period. You always going to find somebody that agrees with you. You always going to find somebody that disagrees with you. But are we going to keep living in virtual reality or reality? Of, I can make a checklist going down the whole damn boulevard of the streets, but no one's ever going to check every single thing on the checklist. So am I just going to keep passing on potential boyfriends or husbands just because he doesn't make six figures, or not 6 foot tall, or 6 feet tall,
Right.
and have a six pack? No, I dated men making six figures. I dated men 6 feet tall. I dated men with six pack. That doesn't mean we was compatible.
Right.
So should I just be in a relationship just for the title sake of being in a relationship, or should I really look for actual genuine love? And that's two different things.
Exactly.
It's like you be looking for temporary fixes and lusts. And this is why I don't know. I don't understand a woman my age. My age, I'm in my early 30s. Someone around my age really believing in this foolishness. You're a fool. You trying to believe in the fantasy of it instead of the actual reality. And of course, a lot of people don't actually have real genuine friendships or girlfriends or
Mhm.
a mom or a dad to actually talk to and have these conversations. Some people don't even have the blueprint of to what is a sustainable relationship and what is a sustainable marriage, that they are looking for answers, they looking for connection, they looking for love on the internet, because we all, that's what we need. We all need love, we all need attention, we all need affection. This is naturally what we need. We want to feel special at the end of the day.
Right.
And the internet gives you that fix, just like any drug out there in the world. It gives you that temporary fix, but then your reality and your soberness actually kicks in eventually. And then you try and look for another fix. And that's sad. I don't believe in none of these podcasts at this point, because at this
Right.
point it's like you keep talking about the problem, but you're not talking about the solution. Because honestly, some of these podcasters are not even looking for the solution.
No.
Some of these
No.
podcasts don't even know what the real solution is. They
Mm-mm.
just getting paid to talk and push a negative narrative, because that's how they get paid, because that's what gets the most attention. If
Right.
I sit here and actually give you the actual blueprint and the actual what, like, first of all, each person is person to person basis as well. You trying to fix millions of people problems based off your experience and your opinion, when each person has a different experience and lived a different life than yours. So
Right.
your scenario is not going to be another person's scenario. And that's what you
Right.
got to take into effect as well. Are we really out here looking for love, or are we just looking for temporary fixes? Is just my question at this point.
That's a great question. And relating into this whole thing, and I had a conversation that kind of stemmed off of this very issue. Um, and the term delusional gets thrown around a lot, especially when we talk about things like this. And I was saying that these are not conversations we had in my 20s. And again, I'm God, I'll be late 40s after June. It's weird to say mid 40s now, but I'm not mid 40s. When I was early 20s, 25, these aren't conversations. I told him, like, I never heard any woman, any woman say that, hey, I want a man making six figures or this or
Mhm.
that. And again,
Right.
and what my friend said, it's social media. And not that social media has said that, oh, you have to have this. It's a false perception of that's attainable.
Mm.
At least that was their perspective. It was a false perception that it's attainable. And because of that, then you start making these requirements based off of what you see. And also the fact that we have access to more people than ever before. So what was saying, I think I was having a conversation with my man about this very issue, and I was saying that yes, I could shoot my shot to Beyonce.
Mm.
There's a chance. Is it probable? No.
Yeah.
But 20 years ago, that chance wasn't even available
Mm.
because of social media. Now I have that chance, and I think that, and what I said to him was, I'm not saying the men don't have this too, but for the most part, and you've seen these podcasts, well, men talk differently, and that could be annoying as well. But you do not hear men speaking about the material, the stature, the constant needing to achieve in a woman as women in these spaces online do, which is where the whole list came from, and requirements and the tangible, the material items in many ways. And this is what I said to my friend in that conversation. I said that they are, in my opinion, they are using these lists, these requirements as tangible, materialistic ways of illustrating that love and dedication and loyalty, which realistically it doesn't. And
Mm.
that's why I think this whole soft guy thing is so funny, because it's taking what we've seen for the past few years and flipping it. And it's even funnier because now, one, there's so many women online who don't get to joke. They don't get the fact that it's literally a joke and poking fun at what so many of these spaces have done. The whole drizzle is a play on the sprinkle lady, and they're getting mad, which is funny. I'm like, dude, it's the internet. It's they're making fun. The only reason you're getting mad is because you there is actually a point to what they're saying and how ridiculous it is, and you starting to feel a little salty about it. But with that, the women that are getting mad and upset and making rebuttal videos, and I say I'm thinking, why are you missing the joke? Why are you not understanding that this is literally all light-hearted fun? If you look at any of his videos, including the one we showed before we started, and you take away that man is being serious, I mean absolutely serious. I literally tried to do one. I couldn't finish because I was cracking up because it sounds so ridiculous.
Right.
Like it just sounds like, yeah, I'm a six-figure. What I say? I was six-figure, six figures, six-pack, 6 foot,
Oh my God.
more than six whatever counts. I said, you should be sending me cash up. I was cracking myself up because it sounds so crazy to say it. And that's one thing I'm enjoying about it. It's just, it's such a juxtapose. But I'm getting back to the point you made. And this is one of the things I was talking to my friend about this. The saddest thing is, instead of getting mad, they aren't having, it's not fostering a real conversation, which is what I hope it would. You know, there are a lot of women who see it for what it is, and it's funny, and they're much like mindset, like you, like the whole thing that was going on before is stupid, so they're glad something like this is happening. But for the ones that are getting mad and making videos, and then they do the whole normal, like men who are in the soft guy era on the DL, I'm like, lady, really? Really? Like that's where we got to go to. I swear, I don't, I don't, and it's not just black men doing soft life. You got men of all races, nationality, ages that are doing videos because we all share that same plight. But black women, excuse me, those that are online, those black women that make content like that, they tend to automatically start calling a man gay or insulting his sexuality. And I'm sitting there like, what does someone being gay or being on a DL have to do with anything that's being said? Can you not find a valid argument if you're taking this
No,
seriously?
they can't. And they can't. Is anyone that cannot find a value argument of anything, they throw insults. And that's just their defense mechanism, because they cannot have an actual intelligent conversation. Because for you to get angry at something in the first place means, to me, you lack of intelligence. Because a simple person can have a conversation.
Right.
If you can articulate exactly the point you're trying to prove, and you learning the other person's point of view instead of taking defense on the person's point of view, because at the end of the day, that's their opinion, because they lived a different life than you lived, and that's just the point. So the list of this bullshit, because I say, I never heard anyone in my life said, I need a man making 6 figures, 6 feet tall, and all this 666 stuff. I never heard that in my personal life. I never even seeked that in my personal life. I just dated people that I felt connection with, period. It didn't matter of anything else of what was going on. I connected with you, I felt comfortable with you, and that's how we started dating. None of this extra stuff made no sense to me. And that's how I met a bunch of incredible people in my life, because I don't have no high expectations of nobody. Because when you have high expectations, you setting yourself up for failure, period. Because no one's ever going to live up to your high expectations. You have to sometimes accept humans are flawed. Black, white, color in between. Humans are flawed. The difference is what you said, black women. The difference between black women and white women, the white women just be quiet. They deal with the same bullshit and issues of black women. White women created divorces, okay? They dealing with the same shit that we're dealing with, but they just more quiet with. They're not posting it on the internet. They're not making up TikToks. They're not doing this dumb shit. We as black women, because a lot of us we dealing with a lot of hurt and pain, okay? Black women and men in general, we dealing with a lot of hurt and pain that we don't know how to express in a healthy light. And any person dealing with life in itself, like being an adult is hard, period. It's hard being an adult. It's hard getting up for work, working a job that you hate in your pit of your soul, but it's paying the bills. It's hard getting up and going on a date, looking all nice and pretty, trying to find your soulmate, trying to find a mate, and this person just is a total fucking asshole.
Right.
So we all just dealing with a lot of stuff because people feel like I can just replace you with a click of a button because that's what Bumble and Tinder is for. That's what Facebook. Well, Facebook wasn't originally for dating, but now everybody thinks Facebook is a dating app. Okay, whatever. So people just feel like I can just replace you with the next.
Let me ask you a
And
question on that. I'm
go
sorry
ahead.
to what I think to me what you said was pretty profound. I'm going to ask you from a woman's perspective. Um, and do you think that now because of the again accessibility that we have,
Mm.
that more and more women are seeing their relationships with men as disposable, as you can replace them literally by going on an app and finding somebody new, so they don't. Let me try to because I'm going. My mind is going to different places. So that, and then, do you think that maybe they are not putting as much value in actually forming relationships because of that?
I think men and women are both
Hmm.
missing the point. That's what I honestly believe. Both men and women are missing the point of dating in general.
Right.
I don't know what happened where people forgot the definition of dating.
Right.
And I always say to people, you have to court me. And
Right.
when I say court, they look at me like, what the fuck does that mean? You have to get to know me, sir.
Right.
You have to get to know me. That's what courting means. You have to see where I'm at in my current stance in my life. Everyone has points in their lives where it's like, and this is what me and Chris in my last episode of Runs Red Room had this conversation. A lot of older men date younger women, like 20s younger, because they are fresh out the box. They do not know anything about nothing. So they are easier to, as some men would say, mold into what they feel that is comfortable and not challenging. Versus an older woman who already has things sustainable would know exactly what she wants in her life and do not want to deal with nothing beyond of what I need instead of what I just want from the moment. And the problem is both men and women don't understand what dating is. Sometimes we that's what people really need to talk about in some of these podcasts is what is actually dating? What is the purpose of dating? What is the purpose of getting in a relationship? Because that's what we miss. Because if men all the time say, oh, I can just fuck somebody else or I can just be with somebody else, then be with them. I will live with without you because I know that you didn't love me for me. You loved me for whatever messed up egotistical reason that you wanted with me.
Right.
And same with women. The to 6 figures, 6 feet tall, six pack. What does that have to do with a valuable man? And that's also BS because there's plenty of men who do not even make close to that have girlfriends or
Right.
have wives. You don't think plus size men are married? You don't think a man with a beer belly is not married or in a
Right.
relationship? You don't think a man that's working a regular 9 to 5 is not married or in a relationship? None of that stuff matters at the end of the day. And if we're not noticing, a lot of these corporations are even losing their money. They're going bankrupt. They have to close down shops. They got to close down their stores. Everybody broke. Everybody is struggling in some form and fashion. Okay, Trump is used to be a billionaire. Now they cut him down to a millionaire because of all his dumb stuff that he did. That money and stuff does not guarantee no happiness of
Hmm.
life, and you don't see his wife nowhere. Okay, you don't
Right.
see her nowhere in any of these news. Like, so if you just trying to be taken care of, and I get it, women, we do want to be taken care of.
Right.
We do. We want a man to look up to Because if you are my man, I need to see you as my protector and provider. Period. That doesn't mean I'm not going to work. I'm more realistic into it. It does not mean I'm just going to have you do all the work and I'm not doing nothing. That's ridiculous. I will contribute where I feel is necessary to contribute.
Right.
It's a partnership. It has to be balanced at the end of the day. It has to be yin to the yang. It has to be a balance in order to keep anyone's family sustainable. If
Right.
you doing all the work and I'm literally not doing nothing, that is not balance. We both have to contribute to something in the relationship. Everybody wants, what am I getting out of this situation at the end of the day?
Right. No, I agree with you totally. It's two things I wanted to not necessarily rebut, but one thing I do disagree with, but one I agree with. I asked you about the women's perspective simply because you're a lady, ladies talk. I agree men do it too. I have that issue as well. But I wanted to specifically ask you about that because, well, you are a lady. So I wanted that perspective. And two, as an older man, this is something I realized. Now, I think that I agree with you if the age gap is like really extreme. If you got a 60-year-old dating a 25-year-old, okay, I'm like, okay, that's a bit much. But I'm being 45. I'm not dating for obvious reasons. But if I was, and just based off of the people that I know and people I've met and spoken to over the past couple of years, I could so see myself, okay, I wouldn't have issue dating someone who was 25, 26, 27, but it all depends on who they are. It's not so much their age, because this is the way I see it. I don't necessarily see it as trying to mold them, but I think that someone in that point in their life, especially for an older man, is more willing not to make changes, but to fill in gaps that they see need to be filled in his life, if that makes sense. Not saying he wants them to do that, but the one thing I see, especially with talking about issues and whatnot with various friends of mine, though women that age group, and again, I'm not even saying that that's that, but I've seen that they have a knack of seeing cracks that need to be filled when it comes to their mates, especially those that I know that actually date older men.
Mm.
So there's not so much that they are being molded, is that, hey, this is my man. This is what's going on with me, but this is what I see that is needed in his life. I'm more adept to make changes to facilitate that. So that's my only issue when that conversation comes up. And it's not like it's something that hasn't been around since the dawn of time. I mean, hell, that's what it always been in many respects. But the conversation of he's molding her is this. It always comes across as, at least the terminology. Let me phrase that. When a man hears that, it comes across as, oh, you're saying that he's trying to manipulate her. He's trying to take advantage of her because of the age gap, by him dating a younger woman. But there's never any benefits to him. He's never looked at any benefit to him as far as dating a young woman, what she brings to his life. Because it's weird, because women will say that women mature faster than men. But you see that situation and then you're like, oh, she's dumb. She don't know better. I don't understand how both can exist at the same time.
Because she hasn't lived life. That's why people say that. And I do. Women's job is to care and nurture and to protect the man in more of a, if you going out to war, like imagine we back in the times where men used to go to war all the time and get up and do that. Women used to sit at home, take care of the household, make sure the household is statured and everything was done there while he's out war fighting. When you come back from war, we there to take care of you. We here to give you that love and nurturing that you need after you dealing with whatever out there in the world that you dealt with. That is our purpose as women, is the caring and the nurturing part of it. So when women say, I've been 20, I wasn't, not that long ago, I was 20 years old. So best believe I know how some men, I had men come to me like, let me mold you type of situations, because it's like, you're fresh. You don't know. You can't tell that I'm a narcissist. You cannot tell that I've been cheating on you every single night and day, because how would you know?
Understood.
You haven't experienced it yet. You don't know the difference. You just wants to have, you're happy to have a man, you're happy just to be with somebody, and you're just happy that someone's claiming you as yours. So it's not more of naiveness, even though it is some sense of naiveness. It's more of a clean slate type of mindset to older men. And like you said, it's been happening since the 1800s, 1700s, that men always done this. The men back in the day, you could marry somebody 15 if you wanted to, you know, which is disgusting. But yeah, men always look for younger. I don't understand that part, because I'm not a man. And in my age, at my 30, I get older and younger. I get a plethora of men asking me out. So I can get more of a different type of perspective, because I got a different type of experiences than some maybe other average women or regular women. You know, what do I prefer? I prefer someone I can have a conversation with.
Right.
I don't like younger, but I'm a woman. I cannot date somebody younger, because we're not going to have the same conversations. I was born in 1900s. You talking about TikTok, and you talking about the what is it called? These new dances, the Yiddy or something, some sexy red and all. I cannot have conversations like that. So I don't prefer younger people.
Right.
You have to be a little close to me in age. But it also takes maturity. Like I don't mind dating somebody in their 40s. It's just depends. But to the point is, what you're trying to say of a woman's perspective in dating nowadays. I don't care if you have a six pack or not at this point in my life. I don't care. I don't know what woman made these TikToks to make men really believe a woman out here is really looking for the 666. That's BS. I'm telling you. It's completely BS, because
it's catchy. It's catchy and it's stuck.
It's
and
drama. It's drama, because they know you can't. No man is going to have all that, and if he is having all that, best believe, honey, he's going to treat you like an option. Because if he in his head thinking I am the man that all the women want, he's going to go after all the women he can possibly get. So that's
I
just
agree.
reality to it.
I agree and disagree on that. I agree with he's going to treat you like an option, but he's not going to treat her like an option because he thinks he's going to treat her like an option because all the women shows that he has options.
Right. That's true.
But I do want to make one point though, and you brought up something about the age gap. And while I agree with you, back in the day, I'd be an old ass man right now. So that's why in my 30s or in my 20s, I'd be marrying a 15-year-old because there's a high likelihood that women died in childbirth. And I'm only saying this because when we have these conversations in general, we don't look at history and actually what it was like. And I'll say from myself being my background's in environmental science, and we did part of grad school, did a lot of population ecology, community ecology, and a lot of what we did, some sects, was surveying the graveyards in the town that I went to, in the school I went to. A lot of those women died in their 20s, and a lot of them died because of childbirth. Men's lifespans were like mid 40s at best. You didn't have a lot of people reaching to be 70, 80, 90 years old because we didn't have modern medicine like we have now. We didn't have the creature comforts that we have now. So there was at that time a need to marry younger, also because of reproduction. Older women gets even now, but again, now we have more modern science, so a lot more of that happens, obviously. But if you want to have children, you want to grow the village, you have to do it when the female of the population is at its most fertile. Now, I don't think anybody wants to date a 15-year-old, but again, you are Jewislav, what, you're a man at 13, you're a man. Like that goes back we were teenagers were seen as adults back then. You were not seen as children like we do now. So I
Mm,
think that is something that when we have these conversations, we really have to look back at history to really understand all of the circumstances surrounding why people married, that you had the age gap, but also why they married that young, which those reasons for the most part don't exist in our society now. For the most part,
right.
we don't have high, I mean, we have high, statistically speaking, infant mortality, women dying, especially in Black women, but it is nowhere near what it was 200 years ago.
And it's only because the this is why we need more Black women in general, Black people in general, in the more medical field.
Right.
I was pregnant with my daughter, and the white nurse treated me like shit. Okay, that's why a lot of fertility rates are lower because they don't believe Black women. Okay, and that's the problem because they see us as all the same. It's probably was a Black woman in there stealing everything in that damn hospital bedroom, taking the bedpans, taking the gloves, taking the IVs, and they just see it as, oh, I hate Black women because they do it, and it gives them a narrative experience. I think her name was Key Pratt, the girl from the Proud family that was Penny Proud, the voice character of her. She's explained her experience of how she was in the hospital giving birth to her second child, and her nurse came in because Miss Pratt was like, I am going into labor. And she said, no, you're not. And she said, yes, I am. This is my second child. I know the difference now
Right.
of me going into labor. So get the doctor. She had to demand the nurse to get the doctor. And when the nurse got the doctor said, oh, yeah, you going to labor right now. And that's the problem why we having a more of a death rate because they don't believe us. They do not care about us. And because she's famous and rich, she got her demands. But imagine an average person, average Black woman dealing with something like that. They probably, man, we going to give you another 25, 35 minutes. By that time, you probably crowning and you trying to figure out, like, how do I get this baby out? If I could give birth to myself, to my child myself, I wouldn't be in the hospital spending thousands of dollars. So they are not doing their jobs. And that's why it's a more high death rate based on I know from personal experience of the mess that be going into some of these hospitals. But to your point is the conversations we need to be having is honest conversations with people, and people don't want to really be honest because they're afraid of the outcome. And a lot of people are
Right.
damaged because we keep trying to men are so visual that that's all that they see, and women are so emotional that they're believing some of the things that men are saying out of falsehood. Back in the day, our moms and aunts used to tell us a man would say and do anything to get in your pants. Okay, you have to trust in your instinct and be careful because a man will break your heart. Nowadays, because of City Girls and the Suki Reds and the Sexy Reds and all this other stuff, it's all about fucking nigga, fucking nigga, fucking nigga, fucking nigga. Fuck your feelings, fucking niggas feelings, fuck everybody. And it's sad because that's not what we are literally, our
Right.
DNA genes is not here for. We I I tell a nigga, you have sex with me, we in a relationship, point blank period. It's no like let's be friends with benefits bullshit. No. Because I value my body regardless of what somebody might think. I value relationships. I value love because I know what it is and I know what it isn't. And I'm not confused on nothing in between. And
Right.
everybody else is confused on what it is because they get that 15 minutes of that intimacy and that attention and they thinking that's love and that's nothing. It's literally nothing that you're experiencing. And we consistently want that.
Right.
And you can't tell somebody the bad perception as we doing is telling people stop catching feelings. We're human.
Right.
We're
Exactly.
supposed to have feelings. We're not robots. That they need to hurry up and start making sex styles for this whole conversation to be deaded, because We're human. We're supposed to be in love. You have sex with me and you nut in me, there's a high percentage chance that I'm going to get pregnant.
Thank you.
It was like, no, I didn't know you was going. How you don't know where babies come from? It's just so much dumb conversations that we're having nowadays, and they try to guilt trip you into believing like your feelings invalid, and it's not invalid. You have every right to demand somebody to love you. You have every right to demand the father of your child to be a part of your life. You're allowed to be human.
Hmm.
You can't stop telling people stop being human. And that's the problem.
Right. I agree. I think, and I'm going to end it off on this because we can go a lot longer. So we definitely got to do this again. But I will say this. I agree with you totally. You can't expect as an adult, you can't expect to do things which incur feelings, which incur emotions. And for some of us, in my opinion, you then you have a physical and thus spiritual connection with someone, even if you say, oh, that's not my boyfriend or girlfriend, you're opening those doors. Don't open those doors and then say, oh, you can't catch no feelings. Though, look, you put yourself in a situation for that to happen. And Ren, I wanted to thank you for coming on. This is exactly what I wanted and what I think needs to happen with this soft guy era is that real conversations need to be had because the whole thing is poking fun at what has come before. And it needs to, and I hope that it sparks real conversation. And honestly, I hope that with, and again, I don't want to point the finger at women, but the whole thing is making fun of what they put out. I really hope there's a like, what the guy's doing, it really sounds really silly. Maybe I should really think about this in real life terms and have real conversations. And the guys, I hope they're like, okay, yeah, this is fun and games, but can we really sit down and have a real conversation about how to move forward together? And I think I would like to hope that's exactly what happens, much like what we did here. Ren, thank you very much for coming on. Where can everybody find you?
You can follow me on Instagram with Celia_Weaver. You can also check out my YouTube page, Ren's Red Room. My last episode is close to 700 views in 3 months. So it's the highest on that network currently. And I'm hoping to expanding soon. But those are the two things that I am doing project wise. So thank you for having me tonight.
Well, thank you. We appreciate it. Everybody, make sure you check her out. And next, we're up with the fragrance of the week. I want to thank Brandon for joining me. It's always a fun conversation and a good time. When she's on board, make sure you check her out at all of her links. Now, with that, talking about soft guy era, and one of the things that every man, at least most men, like to do is smell good. You know I do. And this week's fragrance is one that I am currently testing out at the time of this recording. It's simply on day 2 of me trying out this fragrance, but it's a fragrance that I saw a few weeks ago. And it's interesting because if you caught my interview with JDH Styles, I'd spoken about wanting to get my nose on it. And sure enough, it was literally like clockwork. The next day after that taped, Authenticity reached out to me to talk about their newest fragrance, their newest release. They hooked me up with a bottle of Excursion. So I was very interested to see what it's about. Now, I went in blind to this one. And I smelled it for the first time and it just smelled so good. It was light, it was fresh, it was witty. So with this one, you're going to find top notes, find top notes of bergamot, green apple, as well as lime. And then you'll get those heart notes of sage and lavender. And that's one of the things I really like. Zaharoff has really opened my nose up to lavender. I love the lavender note in Zaharoff signature home so much that when I smell something like this, it just absolutely makes me fall in love because the soothing cleanness of a good lavender note, which I find here, is just something that I'm really a sucker for now. And then you're gonna have base notes of cedarwood, teakwood, and mahogany. That's what it reminds me of. When I smell this and me smelling this, Now, it's not a one-to-one because it's a totally different fragrance, but it reminded me of something that I just couldn't put my finger on, a fragrance. And it reminds me, and it's a teak wood. It reminds me of Horizon, from Black Essence. Now, they do not smell the same. They don't. But that teak wood note is very similar. And that's what really caught my nose on the base. But this is a fragrance that they advertise 12 plus hours. They always deliver on that one. Always. Absolutely always. And one of the things I have really loved about this fragrance, especially wearing it on day one, is that it was such a beautiful breeze, and the breeze kept catching the scent from my skin. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours later, I'm out in that light breeze, and I just get that hint of Excursion hitting my nose every single time. It was really great. Now, for me, I love the opening with that freshness, with that fruitiness, and it's not a heavy fruit, especially with the green apple, and the bergamot and the lime. It's a fresh fruitiness, not a super sweet, but that sage and that lavender mid note. I think that's such a great binding agent between the top and the mid notes, because I still get that as I start to smell. The teak wood for me is very dominant in the base, but the teak wood, the cedar wood, and the mahogany, it is such a refreshingly woody because of that, but also calming and soothing of a fragrance. But I absolutely enjoy it. I think I said, if you saw my interview with JDH Styles, authenticity hasn't disappointed me yet with regards to the fragrances they put out. And Excursion is another banger. I think this 50 ml is currently on sale for $44 on their website, and I think it's also like a 10% off, so you can get it a bit cheaper than that as well. So check them out. I do not get any sort of kickbacks. I'm just a sucker for a good fragrance, and in this case, they are local to the state that I reside in, so I always want to help out the state economy. But yeah, Excursion, definitely it's a good everyday wear, but much like the name, it is a fragrance that I think works very well when going out. This is a fragrance I can see going out on a date. This is a fragrance I can see just going out. It could work in the office, and I'll be wearing it to the office soon at the time of this recording. But I get a sense of going out. I get a sense of being out with this fragrance. Much like the name implies, it's an excursion. So we've come to the end of the podcast, and just let you know, there are a lot of ways you can support to make sure this podcast continues to keep going. And also, it's nice to support those creators that you like. You can check out Basil and Sage. I absolutely love their boxes. There are a subscription box. I also sell individual products, but a subscription box filled with products from Black-owned businesses. You can get 10% off your first box with the code Sartorio and Geek 10, and then go stylish. I like to look stylish, and if you want to find accessories as well as be able to go stylish, check out gostylish.com or $1,000,000collar.com to get 10% off your first purchase using the code Webster Style. Also, check out my Patreon. I'm a little bit fallow at the moment. I haven't been updating as much, but if you like to become a producer at the $1, $3, or $5 tiers, there are things already there that are nowhere else online that you get access to. And then, of course, check me out. You got a beard, you have a man that has a beard, check out Beard Organics. Be sure to check out them. I love their beard oils, and I've been using them all the time. If you've been looking at my Get Ready With Me videos, it's a luxurious beard oil, and they have great products there. Be sure to check them out and use the code WebsterStyle10 to get 10% off your first purchase of $50 or more. And then check out El Viejo coffee. Now, Negro coffee is something totally different. I love their dark roast, so I'm just thinking of El Negro dark roast black. But El Viejo coffee, get 10% off your purchase there using the code Webster Style. And I love their dark roast. I drink it pretty much every morning. It's my Starbucks. Then it is El Viejo coffee, and I need to make some because I'm almost on my Starbucks. And then try Dubby. energy drink. Not so much in the coffee, not so much in the Red Bull, things like that. Check out W Energy Drink. Use the code WebsterMan for 10% off your first purchase. Now, this has been obviously another edition of the Social and Geek Podcast by Webster Style. I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for your listening ear. And remember, stay safe out there and be blessed.
Swag out them boss. Is that bow tie paisley? Ah, you're a killer. Ooh, I mean, this is me right here. Baby, you see this? Nah, this is... Hold on. I mean, I can change. I thought... Never mind, forget it. I'm a Jenny Infinity.